I asked Yohan about it. I was like, did you go to the ATM and take money out of my account? He's like, no. I was like, are you sure? Today someone went to the ATM and took money out. And he's like, no.
Straight up lied. Yohan completely breaks Danielle's trust by taking money out of her account and then lying about it.
So I'm like, okay. So I have to go to the bank and ask them for a video of who took money out of my account. And then finally he's like, yeah, fine. And just like bangs the table and was super angry.
Did he not think she was smart enough to find out? Where was his mind? Did he even think this through? And it gets worse.
¿Tú quieres que yo te deje el apartamento? Tú me das el dinero que yo invertí
Pero yo
aquí.
pagar por este apartamento también.
The fact that Yohan is asking for reimbursement for rent doesn't make any sense to me.
Man, I wish I could ask my apartment building for my rent money back when I'm ready to go. What? Let's get into it. Hey 90 Day Fans fam, it's Melicia. All right, at the top of the episode, Danielle explains how she found out Yohan has been sneaking off with her card.
Yesterday, I was sitting in the kitchen and I opened up my bank account and I found this like one charge. It was $40. So I go through my account and I see that this has happened multiple times and I didn't recognize them and they were ATM withdrawals. And I was like, I didn't go to the bank. And I asked Yohan about it. I was like, did you go to the ATM and take money out of my account? He's like, no.
Yohan finally admitted to it, but only after Danielle says she's going to ask the bank for video.
So now I'm like, what the f? And he was just like not responding, not engaging with me, and being like a about it, like not even apologetic.
She says she went and locked herself in her room. Now she's trying to figure out what's next.
So now I'm like, do I say absolutely not, pack up my and go back to New York, or do I try to work with him to figure out why he's behaving in this way?
Girl, no. I'm sorry. I get wanting to make your marriage work, but my first reaction is pack your stuff and go home. Unless you want to continue to raise what feels like a teenager. K. Michelle said it best.
Try to talk to him, can't get through.
Check.
Every day he's a different dude.
Check.
These are the signs of a grown-ass boy. Better run for the hills. I'm just trying to keep it real.
Cause you can't raise a man. He's already grown, what you gonna do? That song is so real. Yohan has to want to do the work at this point. But for now, he's avoiding responsibility.
Daniela fue a un retiro. Yo tomé un dinero de su tarjeta sin decírselo. Daniela me hizo un show que yo soy un ladrón. Somos una pareja. Yo soy su esposo.
You lied, which suggests you were trying to be sneaky. If you really do believe you are entitled to that money as her husband, why didn't you say yes? I took the money out of the account. It was me. Probably because he knew he had no business doing it.
Daniel tiene su cuenta, yo tengo mi cuenta. Siempre desde un principio, siempre va así. No tenemos cuenta juntos. Ella muchas veces dejaba la tarjeta arriba de la mesa. Cogí la tarjeta, como sabía el código, y retiré 2,000 pesos. Pero yo creo en el matrimonio. Lo que es mío es tuyo. No existe el que tú robarle a tu esposa.
Look, he can't even sit with what he just said. Think about it. Only a thief would lie. If you were innocent, why would you lie? You didn't do anything wrong.
I would do anything to make my marriage work.
Fast forward, in comes Danielle, who confronts Yohan about his lack of honesty.
Tú toma mi tarjeta muchas veces, no solo una vez. Confianza es mucho importante a mí. Es más importante en una relación. Y en este momento yo no tengo confianza en ti. Tú piensas porque tú tienes una americana, ella paga por todo. No es la vida que yo quiero. Yo quiero una pareja igual.
Did you choose an equal though, Danielle? Let's be real. Yes, we are all equal as human beings, but as far as a partner, she picked someone who on paper, in character, and in maturity seems to not be an equal partner to her. And that's no shade to Yohan. He's on his own timing and journey. But in my unsolicited opinion, you have to pick an equal partner. You can't hope or try to turn someone into that. They did get married after 5 months of knowing each other though. Maybe she thought some of the characteristics she desires would come out later on.
Yo quiero una pareja igual. Yo quiero un rey.
Tú me quieres como humillar por 4,000 pesos que yo te tomé de tu tarjeta
No,
sin
de
permiso.
tu mentira. De
Espérate,
tu mentira.
espérate.
Yo puedo buscar ahora, es más de 4,000 pesos.
Búscalo.
Why is he setting himself up like this? As Danielle calls out the transactions on her phone, Yohan tells her that she was the one going to the bank and making withdrawals.
Sí, tú vas a buscar ahora todo lo que tú has sacado y yo me lo voy a poner a mí.
Isn't that gaslighting? Trying to make someone question their own sanity?
Tú dices, yo voy a este banco cada día?
In total, Yohan made 4 withdrawals of a total of $160. But this has nothing to do with the amount of money that he took out. I wouldn't even mind him taking money out of the bank if he needed it. The problem is that I asked him if he took it and he said no. That's where I'm really scared.
Yohan goes on to tell Danielle he took the money out for food, and she hits him with her go-to.
Like, are you kidding me? You didn't because you had no food in the house. There's a freezer full of meat and 20 pounds of rice at all times.
This moment right here is giving mom going off on her teenage son, who thinks he's grown, out here taking money out of her account and getting tattoos. By the way, I had no idea Danielle had Yohan's name tatted on her like that. Wow. No wonder he thinks he can do whatever. Yohan proceeds to tell Danielle that if he would have asked for the money, she wouldn't have given it to him. He then calls her selfish.
Tú eres una persona egoísta, tú solo piensas en ti.
I invested way more money than you in this relationship. Every single thing you have came from me.
Dang. I know his ego felt that.
That's disgusting to even say.
Tú no me mantienes a mí. Yo compro mi comida.
Yohan, you're getting lazy with the lies now. You just said you took money out of her account to buy food.
Porque no tenía dinero aquí para comer.
Like, are you kidding me?
Danielle basically tells Yohan, since you want to act like that, next month, we are splitting everything in the house 50-50. And if not, you need to go home to your mama.
Que no voy a ir para mi casa con la mano limpia.
Yohan then goes on to say something ridiculous.
Tú quieres que yo te deje el apartamento, tú me das el dinero que yo
Pero
invertí
yo
aquí.
pagar por este apartamento también.
This isn't a home you're investing in. You're renting the place. You paid for your time there.
The fact that Yohan is asking for reimbursement for rent doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why do I owe it to him? Has he lost his mind? Like, I'm not paying you.
Okay, so tú piensas tú necesitas vivir aquí y tú no pagas nada.
Claro que sí.
The answer is hell no.
This season, Yohan has made it clear he wants to be treated like a king.
Debería dar una vida de rey aquí.
But you just don't become a king because of your genitalia. A real king acts like a king. He has king energy. He moves with integrity. He keeps his word. He's honest. I mean, the list goes on. Not saying Yohan has to be perfect, but if you want to be treated like a king, be king-like. Or at least try.
That isn't the way it's going to work. Enough.
And I'll admit, I'm not sure if Danielle provides the best environment for him to step into that. All right, back to this week's episode.
You know damn well that you have not paid for even a quarter of the things that I've paid for here. You don't want to pay for anything. And anytime I ask you to pay for something, you get angry. It was different when you were in your mother's house and you were broke. It's not that way anymore. You have resources. You need to use them, or you need to find another American wife, one who is codependent. There are so many. I can refer you out.
Yeah. I don't know what Yohan has seen when it comes to American women saving men in the DR, but clearly, he picked the wrong one. Danielle already shattered his dream of going to the US by not applying for a spousal visa. He was also expecting for Danielle to buy them a house of their own, and a car.
I make sound financial decisions at this stage in my life, and buying a car with $30,000 that I don't have is not an example of a sound financial decision. You think it's a sound financial decision because it's not your money.
Sometimes I wonder if Yohan requests all these things from Danielle as a form of payback for deciding without him that they're going to live in the Dominican Republic, which is something that I wouldn't be surprised if she did in large part due to the fear that he could be using her for a green card.
Me casé con una americana, entonces para quedarme aquí, para no tener nada. Eso es como un cuento de terror.
Yohan's calling it a horror story, and Danielle says she's in a nightmare.
The last 24 hours have been a nightmare.
Well, wake up. Leave. Which is actually what Danielle is about to tell Yohan to do.
So go home!
Dame mi dinero.
Go home!
Y me
I'm
voy.
not giving you money!
Estoy hablando del que yo gasté aquí. Y te dejo tu vida perfecta
You are
aquí.
such a piece of
Wow, does he really take Danielle for a fool?
You are such a piece of
Paga el banco.
Get the out of my house. Get out of my house.
You are out of your mind,
Ya yo
and
te
I
dije.
don't want you here anymore. Do you understand that? I don't want you here.
Ya yo te dije que tú quieres, que tú necesitas hacer.
I never thought that Yohan would be the kind of person that wouldn't want to contribute equally. I believed that he didn't contribute because he couldn't. But now that he can contribute and he's choosing not to, and actively choosing to steal from me, who's provided for him for all this time, like, this is so unreasonable. It's insulting, it's embarrassing, and this is more evidence that Yohan is only with me for money.
If Yohan's intentions for marrying Danielle were not pure, he needs to sit in the DR and accept the consequences. You can't use people and play with their heart and expect for it not to bite you in the butt eventually. And speaking of intentions, Danielle might have married Yohan mainly for his looks and his package.
Daniela le gusta hombre con pene grande.
Might have. I don't know. Either way, this also proves that those two things can only take you so far. She is sitting in the house with a quote-unquote fine man, miserable. All right, next week, Brandon's mom is in the Philippines for his wedding to Mary, and she is not holding back.
You come from a dysfunctional environment.
Wait, I can't wait to get context around that statement because Brandon does too.
I can tell that she's still judging me.
We are trying to be better as a couple.
As much as I know that you guys love each other, it's not enough.
We'll see. All right, 90 Day Fans fam, make sure you stick with ET because we are covering it all. I will see you next time.